My adoptive father lured me outside and deliberately left me in front of a crazed fighting dog. The dog's teeth severed nerves, and with them, all sensation of pain. After that, I grew even quieter, like a doll that only knew how to follow orders. When my birth parents finally found me and brought me home, the girl who had taken my place wouldn't let me in. She held a fruit knife to her own wrist. If she sets one foot inside, I'll die right here. Tears streamed down her face, but the blade had barely broken the skin. Expressionless, I walked over and took the knife. Let me help you with that, sister. Then with precision, I sliced open her artery. Blood sprayed across the floor. My mother and father stared at me, their eyes wide with terror. The moment Clara Blackwood saw me, she bolted to the kitchen and came back with a fruit knife. She pressed the tip against her wrist, her face a mask of tragic tears. If she sets one foot inside, I'll die right here, she wailed. I've lived in this house for 15 years. Why does she get to come back and steal your love? My mother panicked. Clara, don't be rash. We can talk about this. She's a monster. Look at her eyes. They're terrifying. Clara pressed down, dragging the knife across her skin. It was a superficial cut, producing only a few beads of blood. She howled, "It hurts. I'm bleeding." As I watched her performance, a single directive formed in my mind. Die. She said she wanted to die. I moved robotically toward her and took the knife from her hand. What are you doing? Clara's eyes widened. I didn't speak. I found the artery in her wrist and drew the blade across it. Let me help you with that, sister. Blood gushed out, 10 times more than before. Clara let out a blood-curdling scream and collapsed, convulsing on the floor. My mother's face went white. "Oh God, call 911! My father lunged, snatching the bloody knife from my hand. His voice trembled. "Tessa, what are you doing?" I looked at them calmly. It was a directive. What directive? My sister said she wanted to die. I was helping her execute it. Just then, my brother Jerry came running down the stairs. He saw Clara in a pool of blood, then looked at me, his eyes filled with a mixture of horror and rage. "You monster!" he screamed, pointing at me. The wail of an ambulance grew closer. I stood silently beside the spreading puddle of blood, my own hands stained crimson. My mother's voice shook. "Tessa, why would you do this?" "It was a directive," I repeated. I didn't know how else to explain. At the hospital, Clara was rushed into emergency surgery. I was left alone in the hallway of the ER. I clutched an old, battered music box, my only possession. It was broken. The winding key was loose, and it could only produce a few stuttering, off-key notes. Still, I wound it again and again, listening to its fractured melody. 3 hours later, the surgeon emerged. "The patient is out of danger, but she lost a lot of blood. She'll need to be admitted for observation." My mother let out a shaky breath of relief before walking over to me. She looked at my blood-spattered clothes, her expression a battle between pity and fear. "Tessa, let's go home." Back at the Blackwood estate, the bloodstains in the living room hadn't been fully cleaned. My mother asked the housekeeper to finish up while she sat across from me. "Tessa, tell me, why did you hurt your sister?" I stared at her and mechanically repeated the words. "It was a directive." "What directive? Who gave it to you?" I couldn't answer. I just looked down, fiddling with the music box in my hands. Tears welled in my mother's eyes and spilled down her cheeks. "Tessa, what on earth happened to you?" The next afternoon, Clara was discharged from the hospital. Her left wrist was wrapped in a thick bandage. She was pale, but her eyes burned with malice. The second she saw me, she lunged, snatching the music box from my hands. Monsters only deserve to play with trash. She raised it high and slammed it onto the marble floor. With a sickening crack, the box shattered into a dozen pieces. The winding mechanism sprang out, rolling far under a sofa. The delicate ballerina inside snapped in two. I stared at the wreckage on the floor. I didn't cry or scream. I simply knelt. Piece by piece, I began to gather the fragments. The sharp edges of the broken wood